Hey guys, Sableye here, and welcome back to the channel. Today's team builder is going to be focused on Reshiram, which I think is a really cool Pokemon, especially in the current meta. But of course, if you guys do want to skip the whole team building process and jump straight into the battles, timestamp will be on the screen. So jumping straight into things here, Reshiram is one of those Pokemon that just matches up really nicely into a lot of what's common right now. Right now, you've got the Zacians everywhere. Reshiram pressures Zacian. It's hard to find a restricted that can actually pressure Zacian with a one-shot. Now, obviously you have the Kyurems, but Kyurems and stuff, they like the Kyurems, the Dialgas, they still lose to Zacian in return. Reshiram, on the other hand, can actually not only one-shot Zacian, but actually take a hit if you build it properly. And I think that gives it a very promising niche. Now, I'm going to be exploring a little bit more of a different core today. I'm going to be going a lot over this Reshiram Calyrex-Shadow core. I do have another team that I'm going to show on the screen afterwards quickly, and it's Reshiram Zacian, which is probably a whole lot more consistent. And Zacian is just probably the best restricted. You slap a Zacian beside anything, I think it's going to be a consistent team if you build the other four right. So, I mean, I wanted to explore something other than throw Zacian on a team, you know? But let's go over this team right now. I went Life Orb because I feel like with the Calyrex-Shadow and the Thunderous on this team, I feel like you can really capitalize on some hyper offense options, and I just felt like you might as well get the offense out of Reshiram, especially because with the Life Orb you can actually build to actually take a hit. So I may not get Tailwind up with Whimsicott, but worst case scenario, I should be able to survive anything from Zacian at this point and still Oko back with a Fusion Flare if I don't necessarily want to max. Right? It just gives me the option to still be able to knock things out without having the Dynamax, which I think is really cool. Other options are definitely something like Shadow Ball. I'm not a huge fan of Shadow Ball on this Reshiram set just because, one, I already have a Calyrex-Shadow. What do I need another Ghost move for? And the second reason is just the other three moves are just so much better. You literally need Wormwind, you need a Fire move, and the ground move is just such nice coverage, especially with Turbo Blaze, because you ignore the Levitate ability with it. It's just so nice. You also ignore opposing Thunderous's Defiant with Wormwind, so you can actually lower their attack with Reshiram if you decide to Dynamax. So really cool Pokemon right here. The EVs are nothing crazy, guys. The speed, I believe that should be Timid. Hold up. Yeah, that should be Timid. The speed is hitting 140, guys, and I'm hitting 140 because what I want to do is basically creep everybody that hits 139. 139 speed tier is the mark where you need to be in Tailwind to outpace Regieleki. So if you're in Tailwind and you hit 139, you double that, you're outpacing Regieleki. I hit 140 basically just to creep that. That's literally the main reason it's literally the only reason, to be completely honest. But you can play around with this. Like, you can maybe drop special attack a little bit. You could arguably go modest as well if you wanted to. I'm not sure how much you need to hit the 140. Like, you could go something like that, which actually saves me points, right? That actually just gave me so much more. Never mind, we're gonna do this. I should have done that from the beginning. Whoops. Anyways, you know, like I said, this is why I like looking at EVs, especially on stream, or not on stream, but like while recording, because like as you saw in the last video, I put a team together and it wasn't optimal. Here, same thing. It wasn't optimal until this. It's probably still not optimal. Like, I can probably optimize the HP and the defenses, but for right now, I think it's worth it. I just kind of dumped it into HP. You can play around with it if you're concerned about it a little more. But that's basically the Reshiram, guys. Just want to be bulky enough to take a hit in case you can't get Tailwind up. Unlike something like Kyurem. If you don't get Tailwind up with Kyurem, your Kyurem is dead to that Zacian as it walks in, right? Which makes it just really tough to pivot, and almost makes it, because everybody knows you're wanting to go Tailwind, right? Whereas I feel with this team, I could potentially just bend Calyrex Whimsicott, have Reshiram Thunderous Gastrodon Rillaboom, and actually be able to function as a team outside of having the Whimsicott option, you know? Calyrex, nothing crazy here, guys. Focus Calyrex, in my opinion, is still the best Calyrex. Having the ability to potentially just get another Astral Barrage off is disgusting. It really is, because it forces your opponent to double into Calyrex, and you can play against those odds, right? Okay, they're going to double me, I just protect here, and then they're forced to double me again on the following turn. Or you can say, okay, maybe they won't double me here, and I get 2 Astral Barrage chances off. Or I can burn a Will-O-Wisp, right? They might be faster than you with one Pokemon, but not the other. You can live it, and then get an Astral Barrage off. It's just a very solid item on it right now. Nothing too crazy. I think Wisp is just too nice not to run. You could get cheeky with this team. I don't know if you really want to though. I think Wisp is just the most consistent thing you can have right here, especially if you're burning Zacians, right? It just seems nice. Whimsicott, of course, guys. Tailwind. Nothing too crazy on these two EV spreads, guys. It's just 252 right now. I went Mental Herb just because Sash, and I didn't really want to go Eject Button. I felt like Eject Button was a little bit gimmicky, and I really did want Taunt. Now, with the Mental Herb, basically what happens here is sometimes if you have the Whimsicott mirror, a lot of the time, I personally think it's nice to go for the Taunt. It feels optimal. Because if I win the speed tie, I taunt them, and I just get tailwind up next turn. Or I lose the speed tie, they taunt me, I eat my Mental Herb, I taunt them anyways, and then I just get tailwind up next turn. Right? Mental Herb just seemed like a really cool option for the Whimsicott mirror, and I feel like that's when I'm bringing it. Because like I said, I have the Thundy, Reshiram, Calyrex, and slow mode, or if I don't necessarily need tailwind, right? So if I'm bringing tailwind, I'm probably bringing it against other tailwinds. So therefore, Mental Herb just seemed to kind of work for me, you know. Literally, guys, just your standard Assault Vest Thunderous here. Nothing too crazy. Felt like Thunderous, Calyrex-Shadow, I think are perfect pair. Not quite perfect, but like really, really solid together. I don't think I'm ever running them away apart from each other. Like, because Calyrex doesn't like Incineroar coming in. Whimsicott doesn't like Incineroar coming in. But Thunderous loves to see Incineroar come in. And that's where you kind of force their hand, right? I could very well lead Thunderous. If they lead Incin, they're going to be in a lot of trouble. And I think Thunderous is really, really nice on this team. And what I like most, the entire team as a whole, I don't care about Intimidate. I'm not using Rillaboom as a huge damage dealer outside of Kyogre, but then I have Thunderous for that big damage anyways if I need it. So outside of like Rillaboom, nothing cares about Intimidate. And with the entire metagame kind of shaping up a little bit right now of bringing Intimidate for Zacians, bringing physically bulky Mons for Zacian and everything, right? Like the two special restricteds and my max target not caring about Intimidate or physically bulky. I guess it does care about the physically bulky ones, but not caring about Intimidate all that much at all just seems really, really nice right now. So I figured it could be a good time to try this core. Guys, just once again, nothing crazy here. Standard Gastrodon, just standard. Felt like it closed things out. Like I didn't have a very good way to actually take hits from Kyogre, and I felt Gastrodon gave me that opportunity while I potentially pivoted the other slots to potentially get into a spot to actually attack it, which just seemed nice, right? Like that's the problem with Kyogre. It's the same thing with Zacian as well. You need something that can take a hit from Zacian and something that can deal damage back to it. Same thing with the Kyogre, I feel. You need something that can eat the hits and also something that can attack it back. And that's what the Gastrodon and the Rillaboom here are for. Because it just felt like it closed the core really, really nicely. I don't like the Fire Water Grass core of Reshiram, Gastrodon, Rillaboom. Seems nice. Like this team is very experimental, guys. I actually haven't played a single game with it. So, but we're here to experiment. That's kind of what I want to do with this series. I know I mentioned it a little bit earlier, but just kind of experiment and give some like bare bones of the teams, and some cores that could actually end up working, and then kind of go from there. But we're gonna go Rillaboom over now, and once again, AV was taken. I was gonna go Miracle Seed every day. The 156 Adamant is nice for just the Grassy Glide calcs into Kyogre. I believe I don't remember the exact calc, but it picked up a certain check mark that I really, really liked. I have U-turn. I feel like I could get rid of U-turn here. Like I could easily go high horsepower. I don't think I need knockoff. U-turn just felt nice with the ability to pivot around, save my grass, and it kind of fits my playstyle. So I'm gonna stick with the U-turn. But if you guys wanted to change it, or if you notice you're losing out on things like missing high horsepower or missing like a knockoff, feel free to make that change. But I don't know, U-turn just felt right to me. So this guys is gonna be the team we're trying out today. But I do want to go over a little bit something I think is probably a little more consistent, which is basically Reshiram Reshiram Zacian. Not Zekrom. Reshiram Zacian. But just gonna quickly go over this. I think AV Reshiram tanks so many hits from the special side that Zacian otherwise wouldn't love to tank. And then you also have the Landorus for the Intimidate. Basically, the main core here is Reshiram Zacian Landorus, because Reshiram Zacian is fantastic. Zacian struggles versus other Zacians. Boom, slap the Reshiram there. Zacian Reshiram struggles versus Ogre if you don't position it well enough, so Rillaboom just helps with that. And Zacian Reshiram, really the big restricted that you don't want to go up against is a well-played Groudon. and Landorus just allows you to make that matchup just so much nicer. Still a little bit concerning with the sleep powder stuffs. Venusaur could actually become problematic on this team now looking back at it, but I think the team itself is very consistent. Grimmsnarl with the screens. We've all seen Zacian behind screens. Guys, it's nothing like a crazy new concept, but I do think Grimmsnarl Zacian is just really, really solid. Reshiram, I think, makes sense, right? Because what I find with the Zacian teams is you have to find ways to put pressure onto opposing Zacian. And I think, as I mentioned before, Reshiram does exactly that. You know? That's, to me, what Reshiram is. It's gonna pressure Zacian. And with the AV, you're actually tanking Kyogre hits. And it's just really, really nice in general. Now, Neil, I believe, ran a very similar team in the International Challenge. I believe they had a Blastoise somewhere on here. Also very, very consistent. If you guys aren't following Neil already, I do recommend checking them out. Their links and stuff will be in the description. But I did want to mention that because the team was kind of inspired by that. I personally don't like Blastoise at all. But Dragapult here, basically I needed something for Thunderous. Because Thunderous was a bit concerning because I didn't really have a lead into it. Like, what do I do? You know, so just Dragapult kind of sits here, gets to burn off if I need it. I feel like the other 5 Mons are like the bulk or like the base of the team. You know, it just feels like the other 5 Mons, like the Reshiram, Zacian, Landorus, Grimm, Rillaboom, are going to be what makes this team function. So I just kind of felt something that maybe could patch a matchup that kind of looked bad off the start. But yeah, no, I think Blastoise and really anything that you really wanted to put there could work. But I was very concerned about the Thunderous matchup. Like, I always build teams, I find, and these teams end up losing to Thunderous in the end. I'm like, okay, how do I patch that? And right now, Sash Dragapult, I think, patches it very, very well. It also gives me the option to just go Dragapult Zacian mode. You know, I can walk in with Dragapult, say, haha, no, sorry, right? They think they're going to get burned. I can just go offensive. You know, like if they're so worried about the burn, I can then max Dragapult and say, well, now I'm just going to Phantasm Behemoth Blade and literally kill your entire team. Right? It just gives me that option as well, which I think really makes it nice in the best of 3. Now, you could do the other thing as well. You could go Blastoise. You could go Helping Hand and stuff. Right? But Neil's the one that's experienced with the Blastoise version. I'm assuming they're going to get a video out on that team as well that they used in the International Challenge. But if not, either way, check out Neil, guys. Very good content creator recently, so definitely give them a follow or subscription, whatever you want to choose. But we're gonna go jump into things over here on the with the Reshiram Calyrex team. I'm basically, like I said, guys, this is an experimental team, right? What I want with these videos, in case you guys skip the team builder, is basically to just try things, you know, get bare bone teams out here. And of course, we're gonna start seeing the Barraskewda. Now, this Barraskewda team was everywhere, right? But finishing my point, I just want bare bones teams that, like, the thought process is there, get the wheels kind of going. And if you guys want to take them and adapt them, that's perfectly fine. Obviously, I'm gonna get some better teams on the channel as well, but like for these team building series, I think it's like just generally cool to test things out, you know? Test things, make sure things go smoothly, see how things go, find some rough matchups. But this Barraskewda team, I don't know if it's the exact team that Marco used to win the International Challenge or something very similar, but either way, Barraskewda is picking up in popularity over Seismitoad just because of how fast it is. And it actually does hit very, very hard. And with Kyogre in the back, you control weather. Seemingly really, really nice. Rillaboom, on the other hand, here, though, is fantastic. I'm very happy. I don't love the matchup, but something like Gastro, Rilla, Reshiram, Cali in general is pretty good. I know I was talking about you bring Whimsicott versus opposing Whimsicott, but it feels like dead weight here. Like, I bring Whimsicott here, all I do is get Tailwind. They're going to bring Indeedee because they probably want to stop my Rillaboom terrain. So probably going to see something like Kartana, Indeedee, Zacian, Ogre. We might not see Barraskewda, especially because of the Gastrodon. But I think something like Thunderous Calyrex is a very solid lead for me. I keep Reshiram Rillaboom in the back, and I take it from there. I am going to rock the timer, though. Speed my opponent up a little bit, but this is a scary matchup. This is one of those teams that is probably the most difficult for this team to position around. Right? Like the common Zacian teams, you can pivot around fairly easily. I don't want to say super easily, but they're pivotable. They're pivotable. Right? Just because any well-built Zacian team is going to be tough to pilot around, right? Obviously, you can play better, you can get your lines, but there's only so much you can do. And there's the Indeedee, as I expected, which I am more than okay with right now, because right now I'm sad. They have to preserve the Barraskewda. So I can simply go Airstream. I'm going to hit the Barraskewda anyways, and I'm just going to Astral Barrage. Not too worried about going for a burn. Right now, I'm faster than the Barraskewda as long as they're not switching in Ogre. And if they try to switch in Ogre, Calyrex is going to... hold up. If they switch in Ogre, does it kill Thundurus? Well, we're going to learn right now. We're going to figure that out together, guys. I don't know if it does kill Thundurus. I feel like it might. Rain boosted Barraskewda honestly could kill Thundy. And if that's the case, we just lose. But let's find out. I also think they might not know that calc either. And they might just try to go for a follow me. Because that's also a safe play here. I wonder if Helping Hand boosted Barraskewda just kills. Then that's even safer. But let's see. Because I'm like... Okay, they just follow me. So we did get that call right. We get the Astral Barrage. Of course, not going to do any major damage here. But never mind. Just did 62 million to that Barraskewda. Now... the question now becomes, am I faster than the Skewda? Do I have to be faster than the Skewda? I think I Airstreamed the Barraskewda. I think I just double the Barraskewda here again. Basically, if I'm not faster and they follow me, they lose Indeedee, I get Rillaboom. Rillaboom puts amazing pressure on. And if they do target the... I guess they can actually take both. Yo, Thundurus. Thundurus good. Okay, this is why I like bulk on Thundurus. For those of you who are wondering, hey, why do you have 76 HP and 36 defense? It's mainly for Zacians. But stuff like this, and stuff like when people calc max Rockfalls, stuff when people calc max Geyser in Rain, it's just going to skew calcs, right? Like, if I'm 252 Thundurus there, I die, right? But having that bulk allows me to be in this position now, and I'm very confident that this game is just over. Like, I am very confident this game is just over right now. There's not a whole lot they can do. I'm not going to bother Airstreaming. I go for the Lightning, and I just go Astral Barrage. Yep, they're going to protect there. They have to double protect unless they hunt. Nope, no double protect. So Astral Barrage plus the Lightning is going to take out the Kyogre. And with a Reshiram in the back, this game's over. Yep, with the Reshiram in the back, this game is over. So that was a very good start. I mean, obviously the Thundurus not going down there was massive, and that's what my opponent was banking on. But just the little bit of extra bulk, you know, you sacrifice a little bit of attack, but I think that's okay because Thundurus isn't picking up knockouts unless you're getting the Defiant boost regardless. So it just felt nice. I don't know, it always feels right. At least that's why I like bulky Thundy. Anyways, this team has been picking up, or this core I should say, the Ditto, Zacian, and Dialga. Seems really good. Was gonna do a team builder on that, but I figured we had the Ditto team already, so I figured, you know what, let's mix it up. Let's try out Reshiram, and this is a matchup that I think is definitely on the losing end for this team, just because Reshiram can't OHKO them, but they can OHKO Reshiram, and it's very, very scary. Obviously, you still bring Reshiram. It's like, the question is, how do you want to pivot around it? Because each piece can kind of beat each piece. It's the Dialga that you can't break through immediately, and that becomes the problem. I think the best concept here is going to have to be to yawn it, but if I go for the yawn and they bring Rillaboom, I guess I just go Thundy Gastro with my restricteds. I think is fairly decent. Obviously have to be worried about the Ditto. I got to keep my Sash on my... definitely have to keep Sash on the Calyrex here for sure. So I could max Thundurus. I do think maxing Reshiram though is very, very, very positive here. So I want to kind of save it for that. So I'm just going to simply Brick Break and Yawn into this Dialga. If I could protect the Gastro, but their only way to OHKO Gastro is with a max, I guess, I was going to say with a max Wormwind, but I guess if they do have Fake Tears on this Grimmsnarl, it's not nearly as good, so I do have to worry about that as well, so we'll see. Just going for the light screen, I'm okay with that. I do break that up. I don't think they're going to kill it. Yeah, they target Thundy, that's fine, and now I get the Yawn up onto Dialga, so couldn't have asked for a better turn one. I mean I could have kept Thundurus alive, but you know, right now I'm okay with this. I want to bring Reshiram in right now. I got to get through this Grimmsnarl at some point, so I'm going to start trying to plow through it now. I don't think this Dialga actually is going to carry Max Lightning. I just don't expect it to do that. I'm going to try and kill the Grim rather than go for a Yawn into it or a Yawn into the Dialga slot. Just going to try to get this Grim off the field as soon as possible. Obviously, they're probably going to set up another light screen now. But more importantly, I've stalled their max, which allows Reshiram to take out Dialga. Like, I don't know, like, so what, like, I always try to figure out what they're going to do from their end here. I'd like to think they're going to not sacrifice this Dialga. You know, I'd like to think they're not going to let this Dialga go to bed. But they're actually going to hard pivot in Ditto, which I'm perfectly okay with. Obviously, they're going to tank this Max Flare fairly well. But, like, Earth Power from Ditto in return here is going to do damage. They actually Wormwind and does kill Gastro. So, they really just said, I'm going to risk the entire thing here and just take that Gastro. So, very well played. But now I get Calyrex on the field. How do I want to do this? I think I want to kill the Ditto. But something tells me they might be using it as bait, right? Because they're going to want to bring Ditto out. I'm going to Quake. And I'm just going to Astral Barrage here. If they leave the Ditto on the field, I'm going to get the knockout here, which is perfectly fine. And if they switch the Ditto out, that's also fine. So no Scarf on the Ditto. We do lose the Speed Tie then, which is a little unfortunate. And Ditto is going to go down. So, actually, you know what? It actually might have been Scarfed. It might have been Scarf skill. So I can't actually say that because Scarf Ditto copying Reshiram doesn't actually outpace the Cali. Now see, this is still okay. They bring in Grimmsnarl, but I don't realistically care all that much. I have to worry a little bit about this Dialga waking up. Do I want to just flare this Grimmsnarl and take it out? And I think the answer is yes. And I think I Astral Barrage as well. If there's Sucker Punch, there's nothing I can do. I'm not going to play around. I was literally just about to say I'm not going to play around like a less than 5% usage mod. And yet there is a Sucker Punch. Like, you know, I don't know if that's common on this team. I haven't looked into the core enough to debate that. My best course of action is right now hope this Zacian messes up and protects. And gives me a free kill into the Dialga. And then we hope there's Sacred Sword and Behemoth Blade and Protect. And we go from there. That's probably the only way we win this game right now. I just really didn't think they were going to be Sucker Punch. And they're play rough, but Reshiram, like I said, can take that hit. The problem is we were in a spot where it was Reshiram versus 2-1, right? And the quick wake up on Dialga hurt there for sure. But the early game is what cost me that. Although it wasn't that bad. Like, looking back, like, I want to say it was the early game. Right? Obviously, throwing away 2 pieces there wasn't right. But at the same time, if I do play around that Sucker Punch there, maybe there's a chance there. And I honestly think there would be. Because if I'm keeping Calyrex alive, killing... Yeah, if I keep Calyrex alive there, if I just protect, I think I just win. Alright? But, like, I don't know how I was supposed to call Sucker Punch on that team. I don't know if that's common on those variants, but that's something to look into, I guess. Here's a Sun matchup, which I think we can still maneuver around. Tailwind is absolutely massive here, so I'm going to go with Tailwind. Do I just go Tailwind Reshiram? I don't see an issue with it, because if they bring in Fake Out, I can play around that. That's fine. I go Cali in the back because I need it for their Cali. And I think I want to go Rillaboom. As interesting as good as Thundurus is here, I feel like Reshiram kind of does much of the same things that we'd be bringing Thundurus for. And we're going to be probably maxing the Reshiram. So I'm going to go Rillaboom. I might regret that for the late game Zapdos, but let's find out. I think we should be okay. Now they're going to go Grim Venu. I'm okay with this. The only question becomes, are they Fake Out Grim? And if they are Fake Out, but if they're Fake Out Grim and I Max Flare... Are they Sash, right? There's too many questions here. I could just Protect this turn. Maybe Protect on Whimsicott is something that could be cool as well. Because if they're like Max Ooze, this becomes problematic. What I'm actually going to cover for is the... They're not going to go for the Groudon switch in, right? That doesn't help them because I just Tailwind there. Yeah, no, because of that, I'm just going to cover for the Sash, no Fake Out. They're going to max. That's okay. I'm not overly concerned. Thunder Wave to slow me down, so they're not concerned about Sleep Powder at all. So, break off a potential Sash there, get the special attack drop. They are Ooze, actually, which would have been nice to get Tailwind up, but... Max Flare going to go out into Venusaur. It is gone. So, I'm okay with that, and that's basically what I was covering there. I go Rillaboom first because they've maxed already, so I have a free Fake Out. And they go Groudon. Absolutely perfect. So, I Fake Out Grimmsnarl right now, and... With Groudon not being maxed, Precipice Blade should not be taking out my Dynamax Reshiram. So I have a Fake Out and a Max Flare into the Groudon slot here. That's fine by me. Fake out into you. I could have doubled that. But just chipping this Groudon down is super, super nice, right? And now basically I think I flare the Grimmsnarl and I Wood Hammer here. Because this should take out the Groudon. And this will definitely take out the Grimmsnarl. I want this Grimmsnarl gun. They're actually going to switch out into the Calyrex, which I'm more than okay with. Spirit Break, perhaps? There's the Sash. I'm okay with that. Bringing that down nice and low. Spirit Break. They're scared of Rillaboom right now. And we do get the Max Flare, so Grim should go down. Beautiful. Okay. Now, I don't know if I necessarily agree with that play. Obviously, Groudon goes down to the Max Flare. Right? Which is what they're concerned about there, which is fair. But, like, I think it's more important for them to keep their Sash Cali. Because right now, I ignore the Calyrex. As long as I'm getting Grassy Glide into Groudon and putting it into Calyrex range myself, we should be more than okay here. And I'll just Fusion Flare. Did I just Fusion Flare myself by accident? Did my mouse really just double click and Fusion Flare myself? They're going to Astro Barrage. I think it might have, but hopefully I just get outsped and die anyways. So we don't actually have to see that. Okay, good. We don't actually have to see that, but it's fine. At this point, this is where Cali comes on the field. And because I'm Focus Sashed, right? Even if they wanted to protect... Well, one, I could still win this speed tie, and it won't matter. We do lose the speed tie. Does Groudon live this? No. Right? Groudon doesn't live this from this spot, right? Yeah, I didn't think so. Okay. I didn't think so. Get out of here, Groudon. Like, basically my thought process there was they could protect Groudon and try to get some health back. But I guess they would have to double protect at that point. Because they double protect, they get health back on Groudon, and then it basically becomes, do I actually pick up the knockout on Groudon? Like, that's what that game comes down to there. Which, arguably, becomes close if they actually do protect. But I think that's fine. We're going to take the W there. Let's keep things going for a little bit. Probably one more match. Already close to the 25-minute mark. Like I said, I don't want these things to drag out. It's just kind of to experiment with the team and go from there. Another Ditto. So, Calyrex, Zacian, and Thundy Ditto. I am, core I'm definitely familiar with, guys. Let's see if I can beat it. Now, normally I'd like to say Incineroar shreds this team. As you see, though, I don't have an Incineroar, which is a little unfortunate, but well played. Gastron's pretty good. Priority onto Rillaboom is also nice. Finding a way to stall out the Thundurus is also good, but I don't know if they're really going to bring it. I am going to lead Cali. I think I go Calyresh. And I bring Gastro into back just because the Zacian matchup. And do I want Rillaboom or do I want Thundurus? I just feel like I'm maxing Reshiram here, right? Like, I just feel like I'm maxing Reshiram 92% of the time here. And in that case, Rillaboom for priority, just to pick things off, is really, really nice. So they're actually going to go Grim Cali. I'm okay with that. They should be Focus Sash onto Calyrex. Now, how do I want to play this becomes the better question. Because are they going to paralyze my Calyrex, or are they more scared of Reshiram? Because they could just be scared of Reshiram, right? I'm going to go Astro Barrage and kill the Calyrex. I'm not overly concerned about the Grimmsnarl here. Let's get rid of the Cali. If they try to switch the Cali out, I actually get damage off onto whatever they switch in as well. So that just seems nice. I have to be worried about Ditto just coming back in a turn or two, but there's a Thunder Wave into my Cali, which I'm okay with. So as long as I get this damage off, Calyrex wasn't the piece that was going to win me this game, right? The piece that was going to win me this game is Reshiram, as long as I'm smart with it. We do get the Astro Barrage for the chip. Ditto probably comes in and takes my Cali. That becomes problematic. Yep. Like I said, that becomes problematic, but we saw the Sash. Did we see the Sash, actually? We didn't see Sash because it just lived the Reshiram attack first, but Reshiram shouldn't be dying. The only way Reshiram dies is if they max... Yeah, the only way Reshiram's dying is if they max Phantasm into Reshiram, and if they do that, I pinned them with the Astro Barrage, and I go for a Max Flare, and I basically take out the Ditto. They are going to go for it. They are going to go straight for that. And Reshiram didn't even die. Can we discuss, please? Reshiram's good. Now I wish I would have Max Flared to Grimmsnarl, though. Really wish I would have Max Flared to Grim there, but this is okay, too. Because I get Rillaboom in, and Ditto's now dead. And I can Flare the Grimmsnarl. I Grassy Glide, and I Flare the Grim. Game's not over. It's an alright position. Reshiram was good. I can't believe Reshiram took that. That That's a max +1 max Phantasm from this from the opposing Calyrex, which is pretty crazy. Obviously it's a Ditto, but point still stands. That para hurts because like we were in a fantastic position because we had their Ditto gone. Okay, that's fine. That checks out as long as I'm actually killing the Trick Lagging Tail. Okay. Did they die still? They did still die. Beautiful. That's fine because now I just killed the Ditto off. The question becomes, how do I want to play this? They have to hit the Reshiram here. And I think I'm okay with that, so I'm going to just protect and glide. They can call this, but it doesn't overly concern them. Or concern me, I should say. Like, because there's not a whole lot they can do. I get the kill on Ditto. Zacian should hit the Reshiram, because they can't ignore it. If they ignore the Reshiram and say, I'm just going to eat a Max Flare, or not a Max Flare, but a Blue Flare in the Sun, or a Fusion Flare in this case, like, they can't ignore it. I can't see them possibly ignoring the Reshiram here. Yeah. Like I said, they had to target it right there. And now it's a matter of pivoting to a spot where I keep them pressured. And I think the way to do that is to simply U-turn and pivot in Gastro. Behemoth Blade goes into Gastro. Gastro eats, and with the grassy terrain on the field, that's very nice as well. And now we force their hand again. We're outside of Sun, yes, but we're Life Orb, so Fusion Flare is going to kill them. And yep, they're going to forfeit. Like I said, that was a nice pin, endgame. I think we covered the options very, very well right there. That one turn where we got fully paralyzed, I feel like we could have optimized that turn. Like, if I had actually known to calc that +1 Phantasm wasn't going to kill Reshiram, you know, I could have actually attacked Grimmsnarl there and gone for it that way, and it would have been a little bit more consistent, but it ended up working out in the long run anyways. So no real big there, but guys, Reshiram I think is really underrated. So once again, the two teams, guys, if you do want them, pastes will be in the description down below. I do think this team is a little bit more consistent. This just happened to be where my builder opened up, but the Reshiram Zacian here is kind of probably the most consistent of the two if you can deal with Groudon. Like, if you find a way to get Reshiram Zacian to deal with Groudon, that's definitely the more consistent core. Which I think is very doable. I don't think Groudon's crazy good, especially because when you can just double into it. Like, Max Flare into Sun from Reshiram just shreds it, you know? And then, this was the team we used, of course, guys. I think it's really like a really cool concept, a little bit more aggressive, which, honestly, I kind of liked. Like, obviously, the Dialga was the main issue with it. Alright, which is something to consider when looking back at this team. Maybe switching up Thunders, but I think Thundy's too good. Like, maybe the Gastro, maybe instead of Gastro, have something that deals with Thunders, Dialga a little bit better. I don't know even what you'd put there, but that is going to be it for this team builder today, guys. So hopefully you enjoy Reshiram. If you guys do enjoy the content, make sure to leave a sub and a like on the video. It really does help me out, and I would really appreciate that. But I'm not the type of guy to go around asking. But either way, guys, thank you guys so much. I am going to stop rambling on now, and I will catch you guys in a future video.